Hey everyone, welcome to the PCS-Proof Podcast, where we're covering the vital things you need to know to thrive in every season of military life. I'm your host and milspouse fitness expert, Grace Barnick-Damazo, and I encourage you to join me each week as we dive deep into topics like fitness, wellness, and entrepreneurship as a military spouse so that you can maintain your own sense of identity and purpose, conquering every transition with strength and resilience. As we journey together, you can expect uplifting conversations and insights. We'll share some laughs, and you can count on me to keep it real so that together we can become truly PCS-proof. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the PCS-Proof Podcast. I want to start off by congratulating all of the families out there who got some great news last week, and to all the families of the Chief Selects. And I know you guys are entering into Chief season. I'm wishing you luck. I think that this episode this week is going to be just perfect for you. As a military spouse or a woman in military life, you're navigating some real challenges, frequent moves, deployments, obstacles to career pursuits, Chief season, and the ever-changing demands of military life. It's easy to feel super overwhelmed, and it's very easy to feel jaded. No one can blame you for feeling a little pessimistic now and again, but you really want to feel happy and optimistic about your life. You're tired of dwelling in the negatives and everything that you're missing out on and all the downsides of military life. But you, A, don't want another self-help book that you don't have time to read anyway. And B, you don't want another list of positive quotes that were written by people who have never experienced what it feels like to have zero control or security over your life. You want real, actionable tools that will make a real impact. Well, I'm here to share some mindset hacks that can help you to stay focused, energized, and resilient within military life. They are simple enough to start implementing right away, and if you continue to practice them, they could massively help you to reimagine your life and exceed the expectations that you had for yourself and for the life that you imagined. These mindset hacks have helped me to overcome my pessimistic outlook, although back then I would have said, I'm a realist, not a pessimist. And they've stopped me from blaming everyone else for my disappointments, everything else and everyone else for my disappointments in life and things that I thought that I had earned or been entitled to. And they've helped me to rewrite my future through a more optimistic lens, leading to so much more joy and so much more happiness in my personal life. And there's no way that I could have been able to sustain a small business in my past life with that pessimistic mindset. So these mindset hacks have actually heavily impacted my professional life for the better. I want you to start thinking about your mindset as a resource, similar to water or food. You only have so much of it. It's not limitless. However, you can propagate it and grow more of it. So in that way, it can be kind of limitless. Or you can give it away. It's your resource to do what you want with. If your goal is to have a strong, resilient, positive mindset, you will likely want to hold on to this precious resource and grow it. Then use it to trade for other resources when you need them. So as we talk about mindset hacks, I want you to really be thinking about how these will help you to grow a strong, resilient, positive mindset. A strong, robust resource that will help you to survive during challenging moments. We are training our brain to be resilient. This isn't just woo-woo stuff. We talked a few episodes back about the amazing female Olympic athletes who showed up and showed out last month. I can guarantee you that every single one of those women on Team USA have a story of overcoming adversity and the mental toughness that was required to keep going through injury and really tough training cycles and having to fight for their dream despite the disparity in athletic opportunities for women. I can guarantee you that there were times when they may have been tired, frustrated, and maybe even had intrusive thoughts about giving up. But what we as spectators find so inspiring are that all of these stories are about pushing through adversity. We love an underdog story. We love a comeback. And in many ways, we military spouses are underdogs ourselves. The general perspective from those outside of this lifestyle look at us as lazy. They think we have it made. We just sit around living off government benefits. They expect very little from us. Within military life, we know that that's not true, but we still deal with some of these intrusive thoughts sometimes, don't we? And we deal with real obstacles to achieving the level of success that we wish for, both personally and professionally. And yet we keep striving. That's likely why you're listening to a podcast like this. You want more for yourself. You want to be that underdog who overcame the odds and reached their biggest goals despite the challenges. And it all starts with nurturing that strong, resilient, positive mindset. And we're going to do that today. When we come back from a short break, I'm going to go through 4 powerful mindset hacks to keep you growing your resilient mindset so that you can withstand the most challenging circumstances and come out on top. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. As a fellow milspouse, isn't it wild how much of our lives feel completely out of our control? From those last-minute PCS orders to constantly changing schedules, we're pros at rolling with the punches. We've learned to just deal with it. But here's the thing. Your health and your fitness shouldn't have to be one of those things that you just deal with. Finally, there's a fitness program that gives you back control over your health and your fitness results. PCS-Proof Fitness. PCS-Proof Fitness is a fitness program created for military spouses by someone who gets it. This isn't just another workout plan. It's your key to taking back control. Whether you're in the middle of a PCS or juggling the chaos of military life, this program is portable, affordable, and designed to fit into your world, not the other way around. Women just like you are loving it because it's built for strong, resilient women who are ready to own their fitness journey no matter where military life takes them. Ready to join them? Visit fitpathcoaching.com/PCS-proof-fitness and start your journey today. Listeners of this podcast get your first month free by using promo code POD4FREE. That's POD, the number 4, FREE at checkout. And here's an extra treat. Join PCS Proof Fitness before the end of September, and I will personally upgrade your membership to include our metabolic conditioning workouts at no extra cost. That's right, more energy, more results, and more savings as long as you're a member. So what are you waiting for? Start today completely risk-free and take back control of your fitness in less than 2 minutes. Join PCS Proof Fitness now because your results are worth it. All right, let's start with our first mindset hack. Control the controllables. If there's one thing that we know all too well as military spouses and women in military life, it's that a lot of things are beyond our control. PCS orders, deployment dates, unexpected schedule changes. It can be frustrating and exhausting trying to manage all of the unknowns. But when we allow the controllables to consume our thoughts, it's like giving away our precious resource. We're giving away our precious energy, and we can't afford to do that. I have to remind myself of this every single PCS because as a business owner, I'm constantly having to plan ahead and make sure that I'm prepared to take care of my coaching clients. And it is so hard to have what feels like zero control over the future when we're preparing to PCS. Especially if I start to allow myself to think about how much easier it is for business owners in civilian life. And that's just a waste of space in my brain because I'm not a business owner in civilian life. I cannot control that, especially right now. So I have to really actively separate myself from the frustration of the uncontrollables and instead put my energy into the handful of things I do have control over. Making sure that I'm communicating with my clients in advance, blocking out time in my schedule for PCS stuff, and prioritizing my self-care so that I can show up for you and for my clients in the best way possible. I'll make sure that I have my emails written out in advance and just try and get as far ahead on client programming as possible. And if you're like me and you much prefer to feel like you're moving forward on things and tend to get a bit of anxiety when you feel like you're stuck in limbo, this approach feels much less stressful. So this week, I want you to focus on what you can control. When you find yourself worrying or getting frustrated about something, ask, do I have control over this? Or can I change this situation? If the answer is no, it's time to let go. Instead, pour your limited energy into things that you can influence, like how you organize your time, or how you care for yourself and your family, or how you maintain connections with the people and the activities that give you energy. By focusing what's in your control and letting go of what is not, you'll feel more empowered and less drained by the unpredictability of military life. And this is key for ensuring that you're holding on to your precious resource instead of giving it away. Remember, you only have so much energy and you have only so much bandwidth. You cannot afford to be giving it away to things that you have zero control and zero influence over. My second powerful mindset hack is to eliminate negative energy input. We can also think about this as plugging up the holes in the bucket that you use to hold your precious resources. We're preventing the leaks in the energy. You must be very mindful of the things and the people that you bring into your life. What things make you feel alive and energized? Maybe it's that feeling after a great workout where you feel like you really challenged yourself, or you get a great sweat on and you just feel like that high, Or maybe you love getting lost in a great book and time just feels like it disappears. Or maybe it's listening to an inspirational TED Talk or a sermon. And think about who makes you feel relaxed and comfortable, or who in your life makes you feel light and makes you smile and laugh uncontrollably. These are the things and the people who are going to help you propagate, grow that strong, resilient, positive mindset that you want. On the other hand, we need to identify as many of the negative inputs that are poking holes in our strong, resilient, positive mindset. What things or people are poking holes in your bucket? Social media can be a double-edged sword, right? Especially for us in military life. On one hand, it's a great way to stay connected with friends and family back home. And for those of us who are living a CONUS, it's a lifeline to communication and information. It's our main point of contact and the best place to get information from our base or post. We rely on social media to keep us informed. But on the other hand, it can lead to comparisons that leave you feeling inadequate or feel like you're falling behind. How many times have you scrolled through Instagram or Facebook where you've seen someone's perfectly curated life and you start feeling like you're not measuring up? Or you're seeing your friends and acquaintances outside of military life who are doing all of these great things, and it just makes you feel like you're missing out. These are the ways that we're poking holes in our mindset bucket. So I want you to start thinking about all of the things and the people who are taking your energy. Anything that causes you to feel less than, undeserving of success, discouraged from pursuing your goal. If certain accounts or posts are making you feel down, it's okay to mute them or even unfollow them. Remember, this has nothing to do with them. This has everything to do with you and how you want to feel. It's about plugging up the leaks so that you can hold on to as much of your precious, limited resources as possible. Then, I want you to fill up your feed with accounts that uplift and inspire you, and fill up your schedule with activities and people who make you feel light and happy and energized. It's important to remember that you are in control of how many leaks you allow to stay in your mindset bucket. And if it's helpful to think of it in a different way, think about growing or propagating a strong, positive mindset like you would a garden. You get to choose what you allow in your garden. You can choose to allow in beautiful flowers that make you smile and make you feel happy every time you look at them. And you can choose to let in weeds. But just be aware that those weeds are fast growing and they quickly spread, making it tough to see the flowers. And eventually, you might not have room for the flowers at all. So be proactive in culling the weeds. Plug up those holes in your bucket so that you can preserve and start to propagate or grow a strong, beautiful, resilient mindset garden. Next, let's talk about reframing your thoughts. As a military spouse or woman in military life, we are very familiar with and accustomed to loss. We're used to having to give things up. We give up our home every few years. We give up our jobs. We give up stuff lost to damage from the movers. We give up close friendships to distance. And we give up time with our spouse and with our families. And all of that loss can really get to us and start to eat away at our positive mindset. It's so easy to get caught up in what we're losing. But this week, I challenge you to shift your perspective. Instead of thinking about what you're giving up, try changing the channel like you would on a TV or on a radio. Change the channel in your mind and think about what you're gaining instead. For example, instead of saying, I have to handle everything at home, I have to handle everything at home while my spouse is deployed, try saying, I get to. I get to show my strength and my independence. And I get to focus on myself and what I need a little bit more for the next few months. Or instead of, I can't have a steady career because we move so often. Instead think, I get to explore new opportunities and pursue some passion projects that I never had time for while I was working full time. And for those of us who are living overseas like me, you might catch yourself feeling like you're missing out on things that you used to love back home. Maybe you're missing out on shopping for Halloween decor at TJ Maxx right now. Or feeling frustrated that your commissary and the local grocery stores are always out of the foods that you love. For me, it's the constant hunt for cilantro. I'll make sure that I reframe that frustration and remind myself of just how lucky I am to have this opportunity to live overseas and that I get to try other foods and explore other ingredients, and I get to push outside of my comfort zone. And I know that years from now, when we're living back stateside, I'm going to be pining for these unique experiences that I only have gotten to have because of my fortune to have been in this military life. This simple change in language can make a world of difference in how you feel about a situation, because the situations are going to remain the same, right? The difference is how you are choosing to feel about the situation. It's about focusing on the positives and embracing the opportunities that come your way, even if they're not what you originally planned or not what you would prefer. And this leads us straight into our fourth and final mindset hack. You've probably heard this phrase before: what you focus on expands. And it sounds so trite, right? So overused. But there is a really powerful scientific reason why you shouldn't just brush it off. Have you ever started noticing something everywhere after you just think about it once or twice? Like maybe you were thinking about getting a blue BMW. That's your dream car. And even though you barely noticed them before, all of a sudden it feels like every other car on the road is a blue BMW. You see it in magazines everywhere. It's on the commercials on TV. That's not just a coincidence. There's actually a psychological reason for it. It's called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, or more commonly, the frequency illusion. Here's how it works. When you first notice or learn about something, your brain starts to pay more attention to it. This is called selective attention. Then whenever you encounter again, your brain takes note and reinforces the idea that it's suddenly everywhere, even though it's not actually more common than before. It's like your brain is saying, see, there it is again. And this is coupled with confirmation bias, where we tend to remember things that confirm our existing beliefs or thoughts, making the phenomenon feel even stronger. So how does this relate to us as military spouses and our desire to build a strong, resilient, positive mindset? Well, here's the powerful part. You can actually use this phenomenon to your advantage to grow a more resilient, positive mindset. Let's say you want to shift your mindset to focus on the positive aspects of military life, like the sense of community, the opportunities to explore new places, new cultures, new foods, or you'd like to focus on the fulfillment that comes from supporting your spouse. Once you start consciously thinking about these positives, your brain will begin to notice them more often, just like those blue cars. The more you actively choose to focus on the good, the more your brain will reinforce the idea that there's actually lots of good things happening around you. It's not that the challenges and the obstacles in the military disappear. I'm not suggesting that we be delusional and completely ignore the tough stuff, because that is very real as well. But by using the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, you can actually train your brain to focus more on the positives rather than biasing toward the negatives. Over time, this shift in focus can lead to a more optimistic outlook, making it much easier to navigate the ups and the downs that come with being a military spouse or being in military life. And this is how we propagate and grow a more resilient, strong, positive mindset. So here's my challenge for you this week. Choose one positive aspect of your life as a military spouse and make a point to focus on it. Maybe it's the opportunity to work from home, or the support network that you have from your fellow spouses, or the independence you've built over time, the ability to adapt to various cultures, or how the different places you've been stationed are reflected in the happy memories captured in the photos all over the walls of your house. Whatever it is, keep it top of mind and watch how often you start to notice it in your daily life. By doing this, you're leveraging the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon to train your brain to create a mental environment where positivity becomes more frequent and more powerful. You are literally rewiring your brain to seek out positives and propagate, grow a more positive mindset. And I'll share with you one way that my husband and I actually use a few of these hacks together as a way to create a stronger connection, especially during deployment periods when we're far away from each other. So for the first few years, actually, we're coming up on 10 years. So 10 years ago, when we first started dating, we were living a few hours apart from each other, and we wouldn't see each other for weeks, sometimes months at a time. So we used to end every day by sharing 3 things that we were grateful for, either over the phone or by text, or when he was deployed, we would make a point to share our gratefuls in a daily email to each other. And for me, being admittedly a slightly pessimistic person up to that point in my life, I really started to notice how much of an impact it made on me to have to come up with 3 things each day to be grateful for. It seemed so simple, but it was really hard for me to do at first. My brain was so wired to focus on the negative. But it quickly got easier for me, and I noticed myself experiencing gratitude more frequently throughout my day. And over the months and years, I was actively dismantling the existing wiring and creating new wiring patterns in my brain for a more positive mindset. And in my experience, I credit a lot of my success over the past decade to this shift in my mindset. I truly do not believe that I would have been as successful as a coach, as a leader, or as a business owner if I hadn't broken my habit of focusing on what was going wrong in my life and blaming everyone and everything else for my lack of success or not reaching the level of success that I felt like I had earned. I started taking responsibility, and it started with something as simple as just telling my partner what I was grateful for each day. So I encourage you to give it a try. It's a really nice way to stay connected to your spouse as well, especially when you're far apart from each other. So there you have it. Those are 4 ways, 4 hacks to build a more positive, more resilient mindset this week, tailored just for you as women in military life. Control what you can, eliminate the negative input, shift your focus to what you're adding to your life, and retrain your brain to focus on what you want to grow. Starve or remove the weeds that are stealing your precious mental resources. Protect those resources so that you can focus on the things that you want to grow. And that's how you're going to build the strong, resilient, positive mindset that will allow you to thrive in military life. I would love to hear how these mindset hacks resonate with you and what you notice after trying them out and implementing them over the next week and beyond. So please reach out and share your experience. You can leave me a quick comment right here on the episode on Spotify, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at PCS-Proof Podcast. I would really love to hear from you. I've been getting some really nice feedback on the podcast, and that really means so much to me to know that, one, you're taking out of time from your busy day to listen, and more importantly, that you're getting value out of spending time with me. It really warms my heart. And I've gotten some feedback that the guest interview episodes were really enjoyable, and I love doing them too. So please, if you know someone who you think would be an amazing addition to the podcast, or who has a story to share about how they PCS-proofed an aspect of their life, their business, their health, encourage them to head over to fitpathcoaching.com/PCS-proof-podcast and fill out the form to join us on a future episode. I'll make sure to link that in the show notes so they can go down and click on that if that's easiest. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the PCS-Proof Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with other military spouses and women in military life who could use a little extra positivity in their life. I'll meet you right back here next week. Until then, remember, no matter where in the world military life sends you, together we are PCS Proof. Adios.
And here is the legal language. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or fitpathcoaching.com. Moreover, we are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast.